We are terrified of Big Brother. We worry about the government listening to our phones and tracking our data. But while you're looking down at your screen, you are ignoring the real surveillance state that has been watching you for millennia. Most birds are idiots. Pigeons will fly into a clean window for 3 hours straight. They are basically flying potatoes. But the crow family, corvids, are different. They aren't birds. They are feathered intelligence agents with a vindictive streak. They have facial recognition software, a complex justice system, and they hold grudges that last longer than human empires. You think annoying a crow in the park is harmless fun. You think, it's just a bird, what is it gonna do? Wrong, you just put yourself on a biological watch list that is shared across the entire city. Forget the pigeons, it's time to talk about the real bosses of the neighborhood. To understand the threat, we need to look at their hardware. Their brains are the size of a thumb, but their neuron density is insane. In problem-solving tests, crows routinely outperform human 7-year-olds and most primates. They don't just use tools, they make tools. They bend wires into hooks to fish out food from tight spaces. This isn't instinct, this is engineering. They visualize a problem and create a gadget to solve it. They understand physics. They know the Archimedes principle. They drop blocks into water to raise the level and reach a treat. That is an understanding of cause and effect that most TikTok influencers still haven't mastered. They aren't just surviving instinctually. They are calculating, planning, and judging us. We call people bird brains as an insult. If you say that to a crow, it might actually be offended. But the scariest part isn't the tools, it's the memory. A few years ago, scientists in Seattle ran an experiment. They put on a specific, creepy caveman mask and trapped some crows. The crows hated this. 5 years later, the researchers walked around campus wearing the same mask. They were immediately attacked by the entire local crow population. The crows remembered the specific face of their kidnapper for half a decade. They don't see a human, they see you. They recognize individual facial features. You can change your clothes, wear a hat, or grow a beard. They still know it's you. You cannot fool the software. And if they see you do something bad, your face is burned onto their hard drive forever. But here's where it gets truly dystopian. The researchers realized that many of the birds attacking them weren't even born when the trapping happened. How did they know? Their parents told them. Crows have a complex language and they use it to gossip. They describe their enemies to their children and their neighbors. It's an oral history of vengeance. If you annoy a crow today, its grandchildren will still be pooping on your car in 2035, and they won't even know why. It's intergenerational trauma weaponized against specific suburban dads. Imagine if your grandfather told you to hate a specific guy named Steve and you just did it. That is crow culture. They don't just operate alone, they have a massive organized social structure. In winter, they gather in megarooths that can hold upwards of 100,000 birds. It's not just a sleepover, it's the annual meeting of the 5 families. It's where they exchange information. News about a new food source or a new enemy spreads across this network faster than Twitter. While other birds are lonely individuals, crows are part of citywide information superhighway. If one crow finds a big carcass, he doesn't eat it alone, he calls the boys. It's organized dining. Every good mafia needs muscle, and the crows found the best muscle in the wild: wolves. Ravens, the larger cousins of crows, have a symbiotic relationship with wolf packs. The ravens act as spotters. They fly high, spot weakened prey, and call the wolves over to do the dirty work. Once the wolves make the kill, the ravens get first dibs on the leftovers. It's a classic protection racket. They even play with wolf pups. It's like the mob boss playing catch with the hitman's kids to build loyalty. They are the brains, and they hire apex predators as their mercenaries. Sometimes they annoy bears just to lead them to carcasses they can't open themselves. They are managers. But what happens when a crow breaks the rules? They have their own internal justice system. Humans call them crow courts. If a crow steals food from another member or endangers the flock, they are put on trial. The flock gathers around the accused in a perfect circle, screaming at them. Sometimes it ends with a group execution. It's brutal mob justice. There are no appeals. Snitches get stitches. If you see a bunch of crows silently circling one guy in your backyard, close the blinds. You don't want to be a witness. It proves they have a moral code. It's a twisted, violent moral code, but it's there. When a crow dies, the others don't just fly away. They hold a funeral. Dozens of crows will gather silently around the body. We used to think they were mourning. They aren't mourning. They're investigating. It's a CSI team. They're analyzing the scene to figure out what killed their friend so they don't make the same mistake. If you're standing next to a dead crow when the CSI team arrives, congratulations, you are now the prime suspect forever. They will mark that specific backyard as a danger zone and avoid it for months. It's risk assessment. They're learning from the dead to keep the family alive. But they aren't always serious. Sometimes they're just massive trolls. Crows have a habit of sneaking up behind eagles, predators much bigger than them, and pulling their tail feathers. Scientists call this tail pulling. They don't do it for food, they do it for the adrenaline. In Russia, crows have been filmed using jar lids to snowboard down snowy roofs, then flying back up to do it again. They are one of the few animals that play just for the sake of fun. Or more accurately, they play just to annoy other animals. They are the pranksters of the animal kingdom. If you've ever had a golf ball stolen, it wasn't an accident. The crow was laughing at you. When we think of talking birds, we think of parrots, but parrots just copy sounds. Ravens can mimic human speech, but they don't sound like birds. They sound like tiny men trapped in a bird's body. Their vocal range is terrifyingly low. They can mimic wolves, car alarms, and human voices perfectly. In captivity, they can learn full sentences, and unlike parrots, they seem to know when to say them to freak you out. It's just another tool in their kit: deception. If you sound like a human, you can scare away other predators. Like any good mafia, they also understand economics. They love shiny things. They hoard coins, keys, and jewelry. But they don't just hoard it, they trade it. Researchers have successfully trained crows to use vending machines. They put a coin in a slot to get a peanut. Once they figured this out, some crows started stealing money from people just to use the machines. There are documented cases of wild crows bringing gifts, earrings, beads, Lego pieces, to humans who feed them regularly. It's not affection, it's a transaction. They're paying their tribute to the local food dispenser. They're the only wild animal that understands the concept of payment. While other animals are dying out because of humans, crows are thriving. They use our cities against us. In Japan, crows drop hard nuts onto crosswalks. They wait for cars to crush the nuts, then wait for the pedestrian walk signal to safely retrieve the snack. They understand traffic laws. They've been seen stealing lit cigarettes to use the smoke to kill parasites in their nests. They are the ultimate urban survivors. When we finally destroy ourselves, they will be the ones inheriting the ruins. They're probably watching us right now, placing bets on how long we have left. In Tokyo, they build nests out of stolen coat hangers because they're durable. They're entering the Iron Age. Humans have always known they were special. Odin had 2 ravens. The British Empire believes that if the ravens ever leave the Tower of London, the kingdom will fall. We try to scare them away with scarecrows, but they figure out it's a fake human in about 20 minutes. We can't beat them, so we might as well join them. If you want to make an alliance, bring unsalted peanuts. Be consistent and don't stare. Having a crow army is the ultimate flex. Imagine walking down the street with 50 aerial bodyguards. So, the next time you see a crow, don't shoo it away. Show some respect. You are looking at a member of the most sophisticated intelligence network on the planet. Maybe leave a shiny quarter on the fence post. It pays to be on the right side of the family. Because remember, they are watching, and they never forget. If you've ever been targeted by the Sky Mafia, let us know in the comments. Hit like if you don't want to be on the list. Subscribe for more briefings on the animals that are smarter than us.